Hello everybody, this is Brad Bolenbaugh of Apostle Games coming to you live from stormy North Carolina of the United States of America. With another hurricane coming our way, we've been hard at work on new features of Age of Tribulation, so come on in and let's check it out. Alright guys, so here we are on the world map in Hyrinthian Northwest, and as I promised in devlog number 11 that this developer log here in September was going to be focused on the new passive blessing system. Unfortunately though, about 2 weeks ago, my 5-year-old daughter broke her arm, had to have surgery at one of those indoor jungle gym places. So that put me behind about 2 weeks or so. So unfortunately, I don't have it ready, but I've been working on it. It looks fantastic so far, and I cannot wait to show you guys in the devlog on October 15th next month. For devlog 13, I'm going to be showing you guys that. However, I do have a tasty little treat for you guys today. We're going to be focusing on combat sound effects. I put a couple weeks into that, and I'm really excited to show you guys the diversity and all the different cool combat sound effects that are really going to make this game feel alive. Because there's not a whole lot of animations in combat. This is a turn-based system game, and you know it looks like a card game on a table, and there's not a whole lot of animations going on. So it's really important that a game like this has superior sound effects and music and those different kinds of things. So let's go ahead and get started, and I'll show you guys what I've done. Alright guys, so we're going to be walking over here to try to find a random encounter for this demonstration, and we got a couple of mercenaries with us. Okay, we just ran into a thug and a goon. Okay, so this demonstration, basically I want to just kind of show you guys the different kinds of sound effects that we have and all the diversity and variety that I've put into Age of Tribulation. So the player, along with any mercenaries or followers, are going to have 3 different random hurt sound effects. So whenever they take damage, you're going to hear them, and it's going to be appropriate to whatever the character is. And each one is different. So like Drew Stan, who is a sellsword, is never going to sound the same way as Maynard does. And you're not going to hear the same one over and over again. In fact, even the canine dog follower has his own hurt sound effects too, which is really nice. And I've also, for whenever you heal or do something that's beneficial to either the player or your mercenaries or followers, those also have sound effects that are unique as well. For the enemies, I've also done hurt sound effects and healing sound effects. However, they only have one because there's going to be so many different enemies in the game. So I didn't find 3 different sound effects for them, but they do have their own unique individual sound effect. On top of that, every weapon, of course, has its own striking and its own damage sound effect now as well. So in this case, like the player here, named Player, has a walking staff, which is going to sound very, very different than Drew Stan, who has a short sword, and then Maynard, who has a hand club. And then, of course, these guys have short bows, and that's going to sound completely different as well. Then on top of that, now whenever someone attacks somebody else, there's 3 different things that can possibly happen. You can either be struck by the attack, or you can dodge the attack, or you can block the attack. In the case of dodging, you don't take any damage whatsoever. But I've made a change so that whenever you block, you now block 75% of the damage instead of all of it, because there really wasn't much difference between dodging and blocking before. But now when you block, you soak up 75% of the damage, but 25% of it still gets through. However, if there's a status effect that is attached to that attack, you will also block that if you block the attack. And then, of course, if you dodge, you're not going to be affected with a status effect. And then on top of it, there are now 3 different sound effects according to if you dodge it, if you get hit, and if you block. And if you do block, there are now 3 sub sound effects if you block unarmed versus if you block with a wooden shield of some kind, or if you block with a metallic shield, like an iron or a steel shield. So each one of these, like in this case, the player does not have a shield, so his blocking is going to sound different relative to the weapon than Drew Stan's blocking sound effect, and then Maynard's blocking sound effect. All three of these are going to sound different now. So, and then on top of that, if that wasn't enough, critical strikes now have their own sound effects. So what I've done there is I've added like a little ting sound. It sounds like a little metallic, you know, like a little ting, and you'll hear it whenever a critical strike happens. And you can actually score a critical strike while the defender blocks that attack. So you'll actually hear the block along with the ting sound on top of it. And getting these synchronized, believe it or not, was a lot more complicated than it would sound. So that's why I'm so excited about it, because it just, the effect sounds so much better, you know, because it really feels like you're here. So let's go ahead and get started. And basically, the thug and the goon are going to be launching lots of arrows at us. And hopefully, we're going to get a lot of diverse reactions according to those, so you guys can just kind of hear all the different stuff. So player's going to go ahead and do a shepherd strike with his walking staff. There we go. Okay, that was a perfect example of what I was talking about. So the thug just launched a arrow at player. Let's see here. He scored a critical hit, and player, this guy right here, got hit. And it sounded completely different than when the goon fired an arrow and Drew Stan blocked it with his shield. So yeah, you could hear how different those sounded. Let's go ahead and do a sword slash on the goon. So he just dodged it. And Maynard is going to attempt a hand club attack on the thug. Okay, so he just dodged it. So player's going to go ahead and do a shepherd strike again. And he dodged it. Okay, so he just dodged it. And player just dodged it. So you can hear as they're pulling back the string of the arrow, or I'm sorry, of the bow, you can hear it being pulled back, and then they launch it. The arrow then comes, and then depending on what the dice roll is, you're going to have a different effect. So in this case, the player dodged it and Drew Stan both dodged it, so the arrow just, you can hear the arrow falling and hitting the ground. So he dodged. Okay. So Maynard just swung his hand club, hit him. You could hear him go, ugh, along with a striking sound effect. And then he also got a status effect on top of that. Nice hit. Okay, so he just dodged it. Oh, wonderful. Okay, so you heard the arrow flying through the air. It hits Maynard's kite shield, but it was also a critical hit. So you heard the ting sound along with the arrow striking the shield. And I don't know. I love games that, if they're not graphically awesome, I love games that have superior sound. In my opinion, sound is even more important than graphics. That's just kind of how I've always been, especially when you have some like Dolby surround sound insulating headphones. You know, it just, you can really lose yourself in a video game when you have awesome sound that you just can't quite do when you have visually awesome graphics. That's just my opinion. But let's go ahead and play out the rest of this combat scenario. This thug is almost dead, and then we will wrap up this video, and I'll tell you guys a little bit more then after that. Nice. I love the sound of that arrow hitting that shield. Hitting that metal shield. That's so cool. Nice. That was a good hit. Alright, so this thug is, ouch. This thug is definitely arming up. Let's see here. Drew stand. Player's getting pretty hurt here. I only have four life points left. Let's see here. Let's go ahead and do pounding club. Oh my gosh, that was a heck of a hit. And he also suffered a concussion. Very cool. Okay, so player is going to go ahead and... Do I have any spiritual gifts? No, I do not. Dang. I wish I could heal myself. I'm going to go ahead and do stronghold, because that gives me a 20% increase in block. There we go. Perfect. Oh my gosh. Okay. So that's what it sounds like when you block an arrow, but you didn't block it with a shield. You just kind of, I guess, palmed it with your hand. Which I guess isn't necessarily the most realistic thing in the world, but that's okay. Oh, wow. That was a nice short sword attack. Now he's on death's door, too. Yeah. Let's go ahead and try to finish him off. There we go. So he blocked the attack, but because it only reduced the damage by 75%, he still took 1 damage, which is exactly what was needed to kill him. There we go. Nice. God, something about an arrow hitting a shield. I just love it. I love it. There we go. Nice job, guys. So also I want to let you guys know that, did you hear when they died? You can actually hear them yell and then fall to the ground, which is another thing. Every player, character, and every follower and every enemy also has their own unique dying sound as well now. So, okay guys, so that's it for developer log number 12, the combat sound effects devlog. I hope you guys like what you saw here today, because again, sound effects are so incredibly important for just, you know, feeling like you're there, feeling like, you know, even though you can't see what's going on, you can hear what's going on, and that's, in my opinion, is even better than seeing what's going on. So really hope you guys enjoyed this devlog, and as far as a demo release date, we're still shooting for the February Steam Next Fest. I don't know if it's going to be ready or not, because I'd rather release an awesome demo rather than release one that's not quite finished, not quite polished, and then I have to go and try to rebuild everything that I screwed up, and that just doesn't look good whenever you're releasing a new title, especially in the case of Apostle Games. This is our first title, so we don't want to goof that. But anyways, things are definitely looking good. I'm putting a lot of extra hours into this game now that my daughter's at school, and so I'm able to work on this about 7 to 8 hours a day, Monday through Friday. So very excited about that. But all right, guys, hope you guys enjoyed this devlog. Come and find me on Discord. Wishlist this game if you want to support us. Drop me a message. Yeah. All right, man. God bless. Brad out.
Audio Jungle.